Hello children, good morning all. How are you all doing? I hope you all are doing amazingly good. Eat healthy food, avoid junk foods, keep washing your hands, stay home, stay safe. Now, let me introduce myself. I am Krupa Kiran and I'll be handling English for grade 2. I hope you all have gone through the previous videos, and in the previous videos the portions covered were alphabetical order, nouns, and under nouns you learnt common noun, collective noun and proper noun. You also studied about singular and plural. Now let us begin with the reading part. I hope you all have received this book, that is English Rose for grade 2. Before starting with the reading part, I would like to introduce to a new word, that is delight. Delight means happiness. So what is a new word for the day? It is delight. Delight meaning happiness. You feel happy when you get chocolate. So that is called as feeling happiness. Like delight is nothing but happiness. Before starting with the reading part, I would like to tell you about an author. Now, who is called as an author? The one who writes the stories is called as an author. Where will you find the author's name? It is always at the end of the chapter or the story you will find the author's name. Now I want you to turn towards the page number 7. So this is the chapter which we will be going through. That is Time to Be a Rock. And let us see who is the author of this chapter. Turn your page towards page number 11. There you can see the author's name. That is Deepa Agarwal. So who is the author of the lesson Time to Be a Rock? It is Deepa Agarwal. Deepa Agarwal wrote the story of Time to Be a Rock. So turn the page back. That is page number 7. And the chapter we will be reading today is Time to Be a Rock. Turn the page. That is page number 8. We shall begin with the reading. As and when I start reading, I want you to follow the words along, as and how I read. So keep your right finger on the words as I read. Tutu is a little turtle. He lives in a pond. He does not know anything about the world outside. Read this story to find out what happens when Tutu decides to go out for a walk one day. So this is a story about the little turtle, and the name of the turtle is Tutu. So it lives in a very small pond. It does not know the outside world. It has never been outside the pond. So one fine day, what happens? It decides to go out of the pond for a walk. Let's see what happens. Tutu, turtle, lived with his mother and father in a pond. So Tutu lived with his mother and father in a pond. One day, Tutu wanted to go for a walk. He wanted to see what was outside the pond. So what happens here? One day the Tutu decides to go outside the pond and he wanted to see the outside world, how it is. He walked to his mother about it. He talked to his mother about it. Mama, may I go outside the pond? So the Tuto, the turtle, is taking the permission from his mama that whether he can go outside the pond. Usually, whenever you have to go outside the house, you take permission from your mama. And after she giving permission, you step out of the house. The same way here, Toto is asking the permission to his mama to go outside the pond. Now let's see what mama tells. All right, but remember what I have taught you. If you hear any scary sound, it is the time to be a rock. You will be safe then. So what happens? Mama agrees. She tells, all right, you can go out of the pond. But you should always remember what I have taught you. So whenever you step out of the house, your mama always tells you, be careful. Don't talk to the strangers. With all these instructions, you are allowed to go out. In the same way, what does mama tell here? Mama tells, remember what I have taught you. If you hear any scary is nothing but fearful. You get scared when you see something different. So that way, if you hear any scary sound, it is time to be a rock. You will be safe then. What do you mean by it is time to be a rock? Usually, turtle have a shell which is safe for them. If in case they feel unsafe, they just move the head inside the shell where no one can make it out whether it is a turtle or a rock. So that is what mama is telling here. If you hear any scary sound, it is the time to be a rock. Let's see what happens further. Tuto came out of the pond and walked in a garden. So what happens? Tuto started coming out of the garden and he starts to walk in the garden. Soon he heard a scary sound. Someone was coming. So what happens? Soon he could hear a sound which was very scary, which was fearful. Tuto quickly pulled his head into his shell. So what did the Tuto do? Tuto quickly pulled his head into the shell and he became a rock. Then he stood very still. What do you mean by he stood very still? Still is nothing but without moving. So as you remember, you used to play statue in school. Don't you remember that? When someone tells you statue, what do? You stand still. Standing still is you don't move from that place. Similarly, here, what does Tuto do? Tuto also he will stand still, as his mama had told him earlier. Time to be a rock. I will be safe now. So what does Tuto thinks about within himself? He thinks it is time to be a rock so that he is safe now. It was Mimicat walking by the pond. So now who is in the garden? It was a cat. And what was the name of the cat? It is Mimicat. So Mimicat was walking by the pond. Her eyes fell on the rock. Wow, what a pretty rock. I will take it home. So Mimicat doesn't know that this is a turtle. And what does she thinks? She thinks it is a rock. She thinks what a beautiful rock it is. She can take it home. Now turn the page and we'll continue. She picked Tuto up and took him home. So what does Mimicat do? Mimicat picks up the stone, that is Tuto, up and him down in her garden. So she had a beautiful garden there. You can see there, no, the garden which is very beautiful. So what does she does? She picks up the tuto, that is rock, and she puts it into her garden. Then she walked into her house. Soon Tuto crawled away into Binny Rabbit's garden. So what happens? She puts the rock into a garden and she walks inside her house. Seeing her going house, what does Tuto do? Tuto soon started crawling. What is crawled? Moved slowly. So moving slowly. You have seen babies crawling, right? The same way, the Tuto started crawling, seeing the cat moving inside her house. Time to stop being a rock. So what does it think? It thinks now it is time to stop being a rock and you have to move safely from there. Mimi returned after some time. The rock was missing. So what happens? Mimi comes out of her house after some times and she sees that the rock was missing. My rock! Who took away my pretty rock? So what happens? She was surprised. She was surprised seeing that there was no rock in her garden. What does she talk to herself? She is asking question to herself saying that my rock. Who took away my rock? Tuto heard Mimi. He stood very still. Binny heard Mimi crying. She came out running. So what happened? Tuto could hear Mimi talking. So what happened? He stood very still. Binny heard Mimi crying and she came out running. Who is Binny? Binny and Mimi, they both are neighbors. So what happens? Binny could hear Mimi crying and she comes out of her house. I found a pretty rock. I had kept it here. Now it is not here. So what happens when Binny asks Mimi, why are you crying? Then she will reply her saying that I had found a pretty rock which I had brought and kept it in my garden. But now I am unable to find it. Just then she saw her rock in Binny's garden. So what happens? She can see her rock in Binny's garden. Did you take my pretty rock? So Mimi is asking Binny that whether did she take her pretty rock? No, I did not. So what does Binny replies? She tells, no, I did not take your rock. Tuto was listening to Mimi and Binny. He decided to crawl away fast. But Mimi and Binny saw him walking away. So what happens? Tuto was listening to the conversation, what was happening between Mimi and Binny. So he decided to crawl and move away fast from the place where he was. But Mimi and Binny saw him walking away. What happens? Mimi and Binny could see the rock. According to him, the Tuto is a rock. They thought the rock was walking away. Oh, look, it is walking. It is a walking rock. So what happens? They tell that, oh, look, it is walking. It is a walking rock. A walking rock? Mimi, let us catch that walking rock. So what happens? Binny tells Mimi, oh, a walking rock. Have you ever seen a walking rock? No. So even they were surprised to see a walking rock. So what does Binny tell to Mimi? Binny tells Mimi that then let us go and catch that walking rock. Binny and Mimi both ran after the walking rock, but they could not catch it. Tuto had already reached the pond. So what happens? Binny and Mimi both ran after the walking rock, but they could not catch the walking rock. Tuto had already reached the pond. He quickly swam away to his mother. So what does Tuto do? Tuto quickly swam away to his mother. Did you have a nice walk? So after Tuto came into the pond, his mother asked him whether he had a nice walk. So now let's see what the Tuto tells. Yes, Mama, I had a very nice walk. I remembered when it was time to be a rock. I was safe. So what happens? What does Tuto replies to his mama? He tells, yes, it was a very nice walk and I was safe, and I also remembered when was the time to be a rock. Then, what a clever boy. Then the mama turtle appreciates Tuto, telling, you are a clever boy. Usually when you come back home, your mother asks you, how was your outing? How was your day? Similarly, in the same way, here the mama turtle asks the Tuto that how was his outing, and he replies that it was a very nice and a safe outing. So here we come to an end of the chapter, and here you can see the author name. So who is the author of this chapter? It is Deepa Agarwal. And who is known as an author? The one who writes the story is called as an author. So the author of this story is Deepa Agarwal. Now I want you all to turn back to page number 7. Yes, at the beginning of the chapter. Here you can see match the animals to their tails. Draw lines to join them. Okay, so here you have few animals and few tails given here. What you have to do is you have to match the animals along with their tails. I don't want you to draw lines, but you have to write the alphabet next to it so that it will look neat and clean. Okay, children, I hope you all have enjoyed the session. Thank you. Have a nice day.